everyone, welcome to S.H.I.E.L.D. Discussions. I'm Captain Logan.
And I am Logan and Manos.
And today, Manos and I are going to tackle the last two episodes that we haven't dealt with yet before the end of the mid-season. So we have all ye who enter here, not all, just ye who enter here, and then today's episode is what they become. As everybody knows by now, this is going to be the end of our regular weekly discussion shows for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We're going to do one more for Flash, one more for Arrow, and then after that, we're going to change the format on this. We are working on a weekly discussion show to do kind of an end of the week recap. So don't worry, we will still be talking about new TV shows on the channel, and we will be doing big discussion panels at the end of each mid-season. So there's so many shows coming up that we've got to do it this way because like we're gonna get now Teen Titans, and we're gonna get Krypton, and we're gonna get Supergirl, and it's gonna be absolutely insane to keep up with all of this. But we're gonna do our level best to keep bringing you stuff for current TV. So today, Manos and I wanted to tackle the end of the mid-season for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And let's just go ahead and jump straight into it, Manos. Since we've got two to tackle today, we won't answer any questions or comments from the viewers. Sorry about that, folks, but we've got two today, so we'll go ahead and motor on into it. We'll talk a little bit about what they become, and then we'll kind of jump into today's episode, although I kind of think we'll kind of just, for the most part, maybe talk about all this together, I'm thinking, because it's kind
of one story.
Yeah, that's what I thought. In fact, I think it might have even been fun to talk about the last three all in one chunk now that I've seen them all, because it almost feels kind of like a three-parter. The first thing I want to say is, and I said this with the last episode we did, man, I wish this had been the tone and the momentum, the pacing for this entire season. Like I feel like this is what it should have been. I still say, what was the point of some of those kind of filler episodes? Like if we had gotten, say, 13 episodes, I keep throwing around 13, like we should have cut some episodes out and just made this one 13-episode season. But now that this mid-season thing is finished, it kind of feels like we're at the end of another season and we're going into another one in a way. And yeah, I kind of wish we could have just had one big, long-running story and not interrupted it so many times. What do you think, Manos?
Well, I think the first few episodes we saw were kind of the collateral damage of the conclusion of the previous season.
Yeah.
With the Winter Soldier collateral damage and how it was affecting S.H.I.E.L.D. and creating a new status quo. And I think the last few episodes dealt with, the end, and then the first few episodes, almost like a comic book series after a big event.
Yeah.
And how that affects, Spider-Man or something like that, or the Avengers or something like that, and that's what we were seeing here with this show. And then we spun into this this mystery with Whitehall and Skye's dad, and all this stuff going on with the Inhumans, which is what I think we're doing. And yeah, I mean, boy, this last few episodes. It's been exciting because it really does feel like they've been building and leading within the Marvel universe, cinematic universe.
Yeah, that's true, and it also just doesn't feel generic anymore. For the first several episodes, even with the stuff that I was liking, I kept going, yeah, but it still feels like just kind of a MacGuffin plot. It's like we're trying to get our hands on this obelisk, and there's this like alien map thing, and it just didn't feel like there was enough substance. And now it's so involved. I kept looking at the time and having the opposite reaction that I was earlier with some episodes in the season, and going, wow, I'm only 20 minutes into this episode. I feel like I've been sitting here for a long time because there's so much going on. These two are ultra dense. There's so much going on, and I think the characterizations are for the most part really, really good. I like Coulson again, and with Coulson's whole messed up brain thing, I for a long time was like, okay, I can't be entirely sure who he is anymore. And at the beginning of the season, I kept throwing around the idea that he was maybe starting to turn into Fury a little bit, and maybe some of the alien mind messing him up thing had something to do with that. And now he's kind of back to his good old self, where he's like 0 casualties. We're gonna go into this mission, and I don't like that phrase acceptable losses. The 0 is the acceptable loss, and like, it's really cool to see him back to that place. But it does kind of make me wonder a little bit where his head was at the beginning of the season, and if I can chalk certain things up to, I almost, and frankly, a lot of this right now where I'm at is I want to watch all of this together again, because I feel like it would be a totally different experience now that I know where it's all going, or now that I know where it went, you know. But like, I don't know, at the beginning of the season when he gets Hartley killed, is that like he just had no choice? It really was a lesser of two evils. He had to do that in that moment, or was it he's starting to get a little bit more like Fury, and he's willing to do things he wasn't willing to do before? Because now he feels like first season Coulson again.
I'm wondering if, of course, you know, the season is only half over, so who knows what's going to happen in the rest of the season. But,
absolutely.
At this point, I feel like the first half of the season we watched Coulson walk that line and try and figure out, is there a way he can lead S.H.I.E.L.D., this on the run, you know, busted down S.H.I.E.L.D., can he still do it and not compromise his integrity? And it seems like he's gotten to the other side of that, and for the most part not have compromised his values.
You know, you had
so it does seem to me like, at this point, if this is where we're taking the character, it feels like that's the character arc he's been going through, and it seems like he's won so far. But you know, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, I suppose, but I still feel like it's a little bit ambiguous, just because anytime you introduce anything remotely akin to mind control, and it's certainly not like you had this thing that was controlling his actions, but you know, he had this like basically addiction thing where he has to stop and constantly draw this map. It just kind of makes me wonder if he's like gone through an arc where he's gotten back to that, or if it's just you take that away and you get the real Coulson back. And so I'm just not 100% sure with it. And you know, it's not really a problem yet. I'm just asking questions.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm excited to kind of get the fun Coulson back. I really feel like at some point that's got to break down a little bit, because he's losing people in this, you know. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. But you had that thing, like, we didn't really play out that whole thing right with Mac, where Mac's like, Coulson was a crazy person last episode. Are we just going to trust it? Are we just going to trust that he's back to normal? The show seems to now. I'm not sure what the residual was of that. I don't know if that was I don't know if that warning was I'm supposed to question Coulson still while Mac is, because Mac all of a sudden was like, this place is kind of scary now. I don't know if I trust these people. And interestingly, it seems like maybe Mac is not the casualty now that I thought he was. As soon as he gets pulled down in there and his eyes go all black and everything, I was like, okay, one of two things is going to happen. Either I was right all along and we added these people so that they could be red shirts, or or they're going to do what they did with Fitz and Simmons and keep putting them into precarious situations but never actually let anybody die, and then we killed off Trip.
Yeah.
So,
which is something I was afraid was going to happen, frankly.
Yep, I know you were, and I think they were teasing us with it, where they were like, one of these two guys is going to go, and it's
like, oh crap, I really like Triplet, but a few episodes in discussing the show with you, I was thinking, like, you know, Triplet's not really doing anything. There's not really, they're not giving him any. This is the point of the series where, if he's really joining the cast, he should be taking part in the story arcs here, and that's not happening.
Well, we introduced this Mac guy and immediately give him something to do with Fitz. And he never did much beyond that, but then Triplet, it was the only thing he ever really had was be kind of like the fun-loving guy on the group, and he likes being a spy. He's like the spy that's like, it's like he loves the spy work, and also maybe he has a thing for Simmons, and that was about it. We never did anything with it. It was hinted at again in this in these episodes of he still has a thing for Simmons, but then that was at least I think they were hinting at that again. I think that was still coming in. I have a prediction about, and I guess we are just talking about these two episodes totally together. The more I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I don't know if I even want to try to separate them. I think we should just talk about it.
I agree.
So I want to throw this out there. I have a prediction that because we saw Mac at the end of the episode today, like not dead and seeming to, maybe they can get him back to normal. I think he's going to go through a really similar thing to what Fitz went through. I think you're going to see him have the whole his head's not quite right anymore thing, and Fitz has to help him through it now that Fitz has A, gone through that himself, and B, seems to be getting his confidence a little bit more back, somewhat just by virtue of allowing himself to kind of work through the thing with Simmons a little bit. I think that's where that's going, and I think that could be really cool.
That's an interesting prediction, and you can also, make that comparison to what Coulson was going through.
Absolutely. Exactly.
Having alien voices in your head.
Well, and of course, I've been comparing him and Fitz the whole season.
Yeah.
And again, I'm having a really hard time not thinking of this as the season is over and we're going into a new one. I have to keep remembering that it's okay that certain things haven't been wrapped up and resolved yet, because it's not the end of the season. And yet, did you see Whitehall's death coming at all?
No, not really. I was pretty surprised by that, and I was like very closely paying attention. Like, okay, is he really dead? I mean, he got shot right here, but I mean, he's got alien guts in him, so maybe he's still alive. But I don't know, maybe he is dead. I mean, good, he deserved it, but that definitely means that we're going off into a whole new chapter, really. Not in a whole new direction, but definitely we're progressing the story forward from this that goes beyond Whitehall.
Yeah.
Which is too bad. We're kind of losing two characters I really liked. I mean, I like Whitehall as a villain, and I really like Triplet as a hero. And they're seemingly they're gone.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say they probably won't come back.
I don't think you come back from you crumbled in a pile of rocks. I don't think
that one was. Yeah, that's pretty hard to get over.
Yeah, that's opening of Star Trek Nemesis Thalaron radiation stuff. I don't think you come back from that. But with the Whitehall thing, at first I was like, oh man, I kind of wanted to just see that continue, and then I thought, the progression has been really logical. What else was there to say with that guy? When he has his catchphrase one more time about what experimentation his like progress requires experimentation line. There's not a lot left to say with him after that, and I kind of feel like we're getting away from Hydra almost entirely. I mean, you get to the end of the episode and they make a big deal out of just because he's gone doesn't mean Hydra is done, but I don't think Hydra is going to be coming after them the way they have been. I think that Whitehall was the face of that because it was all about the obelisk. It was all about the alien city. It was all about the Skye stuff. I don't see what Hydra has to gain from continuing to screw around with S.H.I.E.L.D. after this, really. And I'm not saying that we won't still see them. I just don't think they are the big bads after this.
Well, no, I think I think they're going to do some regrouping, frankly.
Yeah.
Because they just lost their American leader.
Right. Right.
They're going to replace that guy, who probably will have a whole different agenda.
Yeah.
And let's see. I imagine the next time we see Hydra will probably be in the films, and that'll be Von Strucker. He's going to be a major force to reckon with. So I think that's the next time we're going to see, I think that's the next time we're going to see Hydra in a big way is in the films with Strucker. I think there'll be a minimal, my guess is there'll be a minimal presence of Hydra, at least for the next few episodes, because I think right now, hey, something really big with the Inhumans just happened, and I think it's just going to get bigger.
Well, you said, hey, we're earlier, hey, we're pushing things more forward for the films with this, but may I suggest that not really. I mean, like to a degree, and I appreciate the fact that they're allowing the Inhuman thing to start here, but that was going to happen regardless of the show. There's certainly not any, like, this show comes up with an idea and then the movies are gonna run with that. I think that would be somewhat hard to do, just given how long it takes to make a film, so maybe that's not even possible. But I will submit to you that perhaps the idea with Whitehall, and it seems like this was pretty well planned out, I mean, they've had foresight this season. I will really give them that. That maybe the idea was we're gonna have S.H.I.E.L.D. for half a season. I mean, I'm sorry, we're gonna have Hydra as a major threat for half a season because that's the aftermath of Winter Soldier, and that's who we should be really dealing with after we break apart S.H.I.E.L.D. because they were half of S.H.I.E.L.D. It would be disingenuous to not use them at all, but we have plans for them in Age of Ultron, so we don't want to do too much there, and maybe we can't do anything past a certain point with him. So I think there might have been a movie reason to kill him off here when they did, but I don't think it was too early or anything. I think it seemed, at least on first viewing, it seemed like a logical place to take him out.
Yeah. I definitely agree.
I think I like that Coulson did it. I like the way he did it. I think that is somewhat important to showing what he's what his continue to remind us what his values are, because I feel like we need reminding now after what happened with him with the alien tech in his head, that he, not tech, but you know what I mean, that he you know, will do everything he can to save people. He doesn't want there to be casualties and stuff, but he will certainly kill in self-defense, and he will certainly kill to save his people. And that kind of thing. So I don't know. I like that he did it. I loved the reaction from Skye's dad when he took him out and he robbed him of his revenge. That guy is probably in my top 3 favorite actors of the entire show now. That guy is amazing.
Isn't he great?
He's so over the top. He's so demented. He trumps Garrett for me now. And I loved Garrett.
I've always been a big Kyle MacLachlan fan. I've always liked that actor, and I hate it when he gets wasted in crap. It's like, hey, you know, sometimes he's in good stuff, sometimes he's in bad stuff. And he's been very good in this. Because sometimes he's given characters that are kind of bland. But he has been really having a lot of fun with this role and not going too far with it. And
I don't know if you can go too far at this point. I think there's been a good build of it where now we know this guy is Mr. Hyde. I can't believe that fans called one, because this show has gone with kind of obscure characters and characters that were comic book but nobody had ever heard of them, and I had never heard of the person it turns out Skye actually is, so that was a little bit of a letdown for me, but we'll get there. It's not a problem. I just, you know, we all thought it was somebody major and not somebody I've never heard of. Oh, okay, all right, well, whatever. Anyway, at least it's somebody that was a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. I guess it being Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it's totally fine that it was a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent.
Yeah.
But especially because her roots should be tied to S.H.I.E.L.D. if you really think about it, of like where she started from at the beginning of the show and how she like hated S.H.I.E.L.D. as an organization and where her parents came from. Yeah. That's cool that comic book wise she's tied to S.H.I.E.L.D. So I guess the more I'm thinking about it, the more I can kind of appreciate it. But anyway, with the whole Hyde thing, we had him constantly going back and forth in like he seems to like totally have his faculties together, and then he's just like bat stuff crazy. Like, whoa. And this, he just lets it go. I mean, like, you said you're a fan of this actor. Have you ever seen him do anything like this?
No, he's usually No, he's usually pretty reserved, even in his villains. He's played a couple of villains here and there, but they've always been pretty reserved.
Yeah.
And I think what McLaughlin usually does with a character, I think having him do a character that kind of explodes and is very over the top, I think serves really well, because in a way, since he's usually such a reserved, common actor, man, you feel like that intensity boiling. And I think he serves it rather well, instead of maybe another type of actor who would have just been exploding all over the place. When you go too over the top and you stay over the top, it tends to get boring.
Right.
And McLaughlin has been very good about letting it simmer and getting right near the top, where you feel like, oh man, he's going to really... I don't know what I'm going to see in just a second. Whenever he has a scene.
Also, importantly, you can't have him just seem completely mad all the time, because you have to keep reminding us with the performance where he came from and why he's so damaged and why he's like this. I think that in a lot of ways he is kind of what some of our characters could have or could turn into if they had the thing that they cared most taken away from them, or if the tragedies that they have gone through went farther or they weren't able to deal with them. I think that this guy, we've seen a lot of stuff in the show about characters who have the thing they care most about taken away from them, or even like their own humanity is taken away from them in some way. You look at like what happened with all the people that Coulson brought back from the dead and that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of madness in this show, I guess, is what I'm getting at. And this guy is I think what certain characters could could turn into. Like he and Ward have some stuff in common, although I still say that Ward and Raina have a lot more in common. But I like that we have so many villains in the show that they're bad and you can't condone anything they do, but they don't see themselves as villains, and they come from a place and they're sympathetic as villains. You can understand why they are that way. And then you have Whitehall, and he's just straight up evil. And so of course he gets killed in this, and the people that remain are what we are currently seeing as the good guys, or the closest thing to good guys as you can get. Coulson's certainly really idealistic, and then you get but then we have left all three of. I mean, we had four pretty messed up, crazy kind of villain types by this point, and that's why things were getting so interesting and involved. I think you've got Ward. And he thinks he's on a path to redemption that he's not on, and it's terrifying. And then you have Raina, who thinks that destiny brought her to a place that is probably going to turn her into the new big bad, I would assume. And then, or if not the new big bad, the once again a wild card, but not the way she was. And then you've got Cal, Skye's father, who I completely sympathize with his background. But obviously he went insane and didn't do it the right way, you know?
Yes, he did. And, that's some of my favorite supervillains, ones that you can sympathize with, but not to the point where you agree with their actions. How many times we've seen supervillains like that?
Yeah.
He falls right into that.
It's super sad and tragic, and then seeing him have to work with the guy who killed his wife and everything. I did find myself questioning if he had to do that in order to find Skye, or if there might have been some other way he could do that. But I kind of need to go back and rewatch the rest of the season, because I just don't remember everything leading up to that. So it could be that was just the only way that he could find her. In the first place. Keep your friends
close, keep your enemies closer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I don't know. There were a lot of good surprises in this. I didn't expect Ward to show up when he did. I kind of thought we were going to drag that out farther. It was really nice that we did that. I thought that Cal got really lucky, though, because the whole reason that he's been working with Whitehall in the first place was so that he could get to Skye, and Ward does a thing that he was not authorized to do and that he wasn't supposed to do, and that got them together way the heck faster. It was almost like the show was like, we could drag this out for 3 more episodes, but let's just do it right now. Ergo, I don't know why we had to pad out the beginning of the season the way we did, but that's just me. Anyway.
Yeah, I enjoyed the fact that we didn't pad this out.
No, it's really good.
Because I'll be honest, I thought this would be going on for the rest of the season.
Yep, so did I. And now we're once again...
It's kind of exciting when we get to this conclusion so soon because... What's happening now? I don't know.
But the problem is, does it not make you wonder if we're not going to sit around on our hands for 4 or 5 episodes not doing very much again?
No.
I hope not. The good news is, though, and all I need them to do is write more compelling one-and-done episodes, at least for my taste. I know I'm getting a lot of people that are saying, well, Cap, it worked for me, and I guess it's just my taste. We're not doing enough character stuff and that stuff, and these writers seem to do long-form a little better. But the good news for me now is that they have proven this to me no less than 3 times, that if I start getting a little bit disconnected with it and unsure if it's going to a place, it always gets thrilling again. Now, I don't want to lower my standards. I feel like they really should be continuing to captivate week in and week out. But I know that if I jumped out of this, if like in the next couple episodes I'm like, this is okay, but then if I jump out, then Manos is going to call me up and go, holy crap, did you see S.H.I.E.L.D.? And I'm going to be like, no, and he's going to be like, well, you're stupid because it's amazing, So
I would not call you stupid.
It's just an example. It's some theoretical Manos who was a little meaner than my friend Manos that I'm talking to right now.
Anyway, okay.
Yeah,
fake Manos.
The fake Manos. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about some other random things. How long are we gonna drag out the Koenig joke? We're still doing that, and it's funny. But like when he starts making references to the idea that he's a robot, and then he just gives a smile like he's like joking about that also. And then earlier he had said like there's 13 of us, and he's obviously joking about that. But you can never really be sure if any of it's a joke. I'm like, at what point are we finally just gonna reveal it's LMDs or it's not LMDs?
Yeah, I don't know, because I keep thinking, like, did I miss an episode or a scene where all this was explained, or is he just messing with us?
Oh, he's messing with the characters he's talking to. And importantly, he's very angry that his brother got killed. So it's not like we see ourselves as just it's not like Wayun from Deep Space Nine, where we just see ourselves as replacement clones for the last one. They see themselves as close-knit brothers like their family. I hope they are LMDs and they still have that, because that could be fascinating.
That is interesting, because they would. I mean, when you think about it, if they're the only ones, who else would they cling to?
Yeah,
like brothers, and considered in, because if they consider themselves brothers, then they also, in a way, are considering themselves sentient.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And then giving themselves, personality and life, and justifying their existence.
On the other hand,
and that would be part of that.
On the other hand, at the moment, they're all completely interchangeable. So if they are really sentient and self-aware, you have to assume that there are things that set them apart. And now that we've got 2 Koenigs on screen together, I really want to start seeing what the differences are between them. I think that would be really, really, really cool and really fun. Once again, why in the world were we not playing this up through the season? Why do we keep leaving him out? I feel like this should have been a running gag that we didn't have to do like 4 or 5 times in these 2 episodes, but like every now and again we come back to it. It feels like we kind of forgot about it. Now, we should probably go back to that and do it again.
I do wonder, because Patton Oswalt's a pretty busy actor, so maybe I don't know if they're working with the schedule.
If that's
he can't be there every week.
Fair enough, yeah. The lanyard joke has not gotten old. I think that's hilarious.
Off topic. I don't know if I mentioned this to you. There's this thing Patton Oswalt did that was very funny when he was in. What was that show he was in? Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah.
there's this story I read about where there was this scene where the writer, he's supposed to be in the scene, but the director and the writers gave him nothing to do. So for a joke, he just decided to just stand perfectly still and not move or blink. And no one noticed it. And it's hilarious. You go back and watch the scene on YouTube, and you even, like, when they're having a scene, like, in the foreground, he's just standing, just completely standing still, staring straight ahead. And I love it. It's hilarious.
While we're being completely off topic, and this has nothing to do with anything except sort of that, that reminded me, when I was in high school, I was in a play in a black box theater, and the character I played had to pop out angrily out of a closet. There's this closet we built in the center of the stage, and I'm supposed to be hiding in this closet, and then I'm listening to someone being deceitful, and I get angry, and I burst out of the closet, I freak out, and I had tomato shoes, and it was bizarre. And so anyway, one day in rehearsal, I was in the closet, and I was supposed to jump out, and but the people doing the scene outside the closet kept like flubbing up their lines, and they were taking forever, and they had to do it over. So I never left the closet. I just stayed in there to see if anybody would notice that I was still in there. I was in there for half an hour, and nobody remembered that I was there. And then when I finally came out, everybody was like, "Wow, that's commitment," you know. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, something like that. It was weird that the Flash was there crossing over, something like that.
Okay, so Manos, I'm gonna say it. While I still think the Hunter Bobby thing is incredibly typical, and I cannot imagine it's gonna go anyplace especially interesting, I liked their scenes together in these 2 episodes. Okay.
Yeah, I would agree to that.
Didn't totally mind it. Thought they had a little bit of chemistry.
Yeah, Hunter was not annoyingly whiny, and their chemistry was actually on point.
Yeah.
It's like what they've been trying to do for the last few episodes actually was working.
Yeah, it almost felt like the 11th hour. Like, we finally got to make the stuff work that we keep playing at, and I'm impressed. But I wish I'd had it the whole season.
Well, with any luck, we'll have it like the whole next part of the season.
So yeah, but see, then I'm kind of worried of the obvious way that plays out. But whatever. So why is 33's face stuck?
I don't know.
Did I miss something there? I mean, I think that's kind of fun, although I feel bad for the actress that was playing her. Cause
like, yeah, great, my best scenes aren't... I don't even get to be in them.
Even me? That's not fair.
I guess when she got, like, fried, it got, like, stuck to her or something? I guess that's what I'm supposed to be getting, because this mask is, like, very sophisticated, and it's not like a rubber mask. So, I don't know, I guess if it gets fried, it kind of melts to your face. And you get to talk like a Cylon or something like that.
Do we not have to power it with anything? Is there no power source? Does it have an internal power source and it stays on all the time?
Maybe she's just waiting for it to, like, the battery to die.
Wouldn't it be awful if the battery died and she had no face? Wouldn't it be horrible?
Then she could, like, fight Dick Tracy.
I thought all that was really sad because remember, she is a reprogrammed person. Once again, has some things in common with Coulson and identity questions and problems with Fitz and stuff. Like, Fitz is not reprogrammed, but he's not quite himself. All that kind of stuff. She is completely reprogrammed, and you get to the end of this, and Whitehall's gone, and she's like, "What do I do now? What we need to do is go find that machine and fix her."
Or she could take part in Ming-Na impersonating contests.
She would win every time as long as it was like, okay, if every time she could go, if every time she could go, I'm Ming-Na, but if Ming-Na was not a Transformer, a Terminator. If Ming-Na was a Terminator. Or Data at the end of Star Trek First Contact.
Playing Spawn.
But only like one side. Then you would only use that one side of your face. You know, I'm Ming-Na Two-Phase. But I thought that was really sad.
May not be a good Two-Face, too.
Maybe so, yeah. But anyway, I thought that was...
just making all this stuff up for Ming Na to play.
Basically we're just saying that we love Ming Na, and we think she can play anything, and we want to see her play more supervillains. That's basically what we're saying. She's pretty great. Anyway, oh boy. I'm glad we're doing Pop Culture Yearbook, because I'm going to really miss doing this with you, Manos. What else? Okay, was this the first time that Raina has called the obelisk the diviner? And if so, why have we never heard that before?
I would have to go back. I mean, maybe it might have been mentioned once, but it's been called the obelisk most of the time.
Yeah.
I imagine Raina... I'm pretty certain Raina will probably be maybe the big bad for the rest of the season.
That's what I'm thinking.
If not No-Eye guy.
Whoever that is, yeah. Or maybe we'll get more team-ups. I mean, they are cramming a lot of villains in here right now.
That's true.
Right, cram's a bad word, but I mean, like, you know, we're taking one out, and we're adding another one. Have we seen No-Eye guy before? I feel like maybe that was a previous reveal, but I can't remember.
I don't think I've seen him before. Okay. You know, Lindsay asked me, "Is that a comic guy?" And it's like, I don't think so.
I'm not sure. He's creepy.
He is creepy. Anybody with no eyes is creepy, and like not blind, but no eyes.
Maybe he had one of those masks stuck to his face, and it went off, and that's why his face looks like that.
You know, he reminded me of the Pale Man, actually, from Pan's Labyrinth, actually.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Have you ever seen that film? It's great. He's got no eyes.
It's been a long time.
He has eyeballs in his hands, and he puts his hands up to his eye, where his eyes should be. It's very creepy.
I don't know why...
Hey, Logan!
I don't know why that thing at the bottom of the city has different properties than the obelisk does. I mean, I guess they're just different technologies, but I kind of wondered, like, why doesn't it kill you? Like, why does it turn you into, like, maybe it's a defense mechanism. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's probably what it is. It's probably like, okay, we'll turn a person, and then it can attack all the other people, but like it doesn't kill you right away. And I was just a little surprised by that because it seemed to do a similar thing to the obelisk, but different technologies would do different things. So maybe that's what it is.
That sounds logical to me. And I like their explanation, like, you know, what happened to Mac. So I don't know. We already talked about Mac, so I don't know.
So, you know, I'm constantly complaining when things like sappily and unthoughtfully deal with the idea of fate and destiny, and I think we're doing it pretty okay here. Because you've got one character who clings really hard to the idea of destiny. As we talked about a few episodes ago, the whole thing with the flowery dress, pretty literal metaphor that she is flowery. She is not her own person. She is looking for somebody to tell her what to do, and I love how that all plays out finally by the end. I like that she kind of forces what she thinks her destiny is to happen, and she was doing that last season too, when she thought that Garrett was a real clairvoyant, and that she was following the right person because it was her destiny to do that, but then it turned out that it wasn't what she thought it was at all. She didn't learn from that because she was able to interpret it in such a way where, oh, well, this was leading me then to this other thing, and this was where I was supposed to go all along. And so when you get to the end of it, she and Skye wind up in exactly the place that she says they'll wind up. And she says, see, this is proof that this is our destiny. And what I really like is that these are just real people making choices. And Skye's there because she feels an obligation to be there. She's trying to fix a problem. And Raina has kind of forced her in a position where she has to be there. So I liked how it played out. I like how she was forcing it into her notion of destiny, but it was really still her choice to do these things all along. And then she gets down there, and they have the transformation thing, which I was on the edge of my seat waiting to see what that was gonna look like. I thought that was really neat, and I guess now Skye's gonna have earthquake powers.
Yeah, because I believe that is her power in the comics.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. We talked about it a little bit, but let's just go ahead and go no holds barred now. are you let down at all? Does it deflate you just a little bit that it's not somebody major like we thought maybe it was? We've been waiting for this for a season and a half.
I am not.
Okay.
I was actually intrigued by it. I'm actually partly glad it's not Spider-Woman. I heard some people talk about maybe Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Like, I was really hoping that wasn't it.
Yeah.
I mean, I like this actress, but she's not my choice to be Captain Marvel, and I don't want Captain Marvel to spin out of this the show. But I just I was really intrigued because the first thing I did was, I guess the thing we all do now is like, oh, Daisy, huh?
Yep.
Who's Daisy? And looked her up, and I saw her on Marvel Wiki or something like that. And it's like, oh, crap, I know this character. I've seen her like a bunch of times. Brian Michael Bendis created her, and he's used her a whole bunch of times in his S.H.I.E.L.D. scenes. And particularly, she popped up a lot during, I guess, when Osborn was big into the Dark Avengers and the Secret Invasion thing. She was actually a lot during the Secret Invasion stuff. And like Nick Fury had this small troop of new S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, and one of them was a kid who was the son of Ares, and one of them was this woman. And in the comics, she looks a lot like Maria Hill, to the point where I couldn't tell the difference. And matter of fact, there was an Avengers issue not too long ago where they made that joke, actually, where they showed up at the same scene, and they kind of took notice, like, oh, you do look like.
I was not aware that was a character that had been in that much stuff. Okay, so at least she's not like really super obscure. I mean, she's going to be obscure to your main viewers that don't read comics, but to anybody that's been kept up current and anybody that knows recent S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff might know who that is. And like I said, I guess it makes sense that it's a major S.H.I.E.L.D. person. That's cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that this character was Mr. Hyde's daughter.
Yeah.
And to be honest, since I was leaning towards it's probably Mr. Hyde, but I was also thinking, Spider-Woman's dad, seems a lot like this guy. Maybe that's it. And that had me thinking about that. If I had known about Daisy Johnson being Mr. Hyde's daughter, I mean, that would have been kind of it for me at that point. But yeah, I didn't know that connection. I only discovered it after the big reveal, and then I looked it up.
Well, and I wouldn't be surprised to find that somebody that lots of folks on the internet didn't figure it out and write it someplace, but I certainly hadn't seen anything about it. So I wonder how many people called it and figured that out. But like I said, I didn't even know very, very much at all about Mr. Hyde. But I do think it's really cool that it turned out that that's who that is. So at least that's a Marvel comic villain that a lot of us have heard of. That's pretty neat. And I'm not saying that it has to be. I'm just saying that like it was a lot of fun to guess. And sometimes, and this is just I guess just kind of a personal thing. It's fun to guess, and then it's like when you're playing 20 questions, then you get to the end of 20 questions, and you're like, okay, I give up. I don't know what it is, and then you get the answer and you still don't know what it is. You're like, oh,
yeah.
Well, all right. Because, Dan was coming up last year with all of these really cool places where it looked like, and I didn't feel like he was reaching back then. But now it was pretty clearly not what they were intending, unless they were trying to throw us off or something. Or unless they hadn't decided who she was yet. That's possible, I guess. I don't know. But I would be really surprised if you didn't interview everybody who worked on the show and they go, oh no, that was the intent the entire time. When the show started and that idea first started to surface, Dan jumped on it and ran with it and kept finding all these places where she seemed like she had some kind of pheromones that were like attracting different men to her in different ways, and or not in different ways, but just attracting men to her, and it was like really super subtle. Well, not only was it not that, but she didn't have a superpower this entire time, and I like that they went with the Inhuman thing because for her to be in 084 and to have a power this entire time that she just hadn't tapped into because the show didn't want her to tap into it yet, that would have been potentially really problematic. And she's not like a teenager or anything, so like at what point in the development of herself, or over her life span, wouldn't it finally, reared its head, right? Like, is it such a subtle superpower that you'd never notice it? Although if the superpower was she doesn't age past a certain point, that might have been really interesting, because that's what her mom has, and you wouldn't know that you had that necessarily right away. So that could have been cool if we just made up a new character. But I don't know. I feel like she got the short end of the stick here. Really, her mom's got a way better power than she has. She just makes earthquakes, but her mom got to be immortal. But then she died. So I guess, unfortunately, she was.
Well, she gets to see all her loved ones die. So there's that thing going on.
That's not good. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how do you know you have earthquake powers unless you use them?
Well, it's like, I would figure it would be like most of the X-Men kind of powers, where you would do it accidentally, and either when you're angry or you're aroused or something, Well,
that's kind of what I did in the first issue of Red Knight, actually, where Red Knight didn't know he was bulletproof until he got shot.
Well, but that only works with a passive power, is what I'm saying, or at least I would assume so. That's an active power. That's a thing you would do on accident. I'm hoping that in some way her powers end up somehow reflecting her personality, because right away I'm not really seeing the correlation between Skye and earthquakes.
Skye and earthquakes. Skye and Earth, they're opposites.
I just made the character. No, because her real name's Daisy. Oh, you know what else is really interesting?
Daisy, yeah.
Girl with flower dress. That's really interesting. Because that might have been like a tell, but it's like so subtle nobody would have caught it. You know what I mean? Her real name ends up being Daisy, and this girl has got flowers on her dress. Yeah, you can't tell me they weren't thinking that.
They weren't thinking that.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, you can tell me that, but you're wrong. All right, man.
I can say those words.
You can say anything you want to, but it doesn't mean you're right. Anything else you want to talk about before we go on to best moment, worst moment, and get through our category?
Oh man, I hope we can see Mr. Hyde Hulk out at some point. There have been times where it feels like he's really close to doing it. He arches his shoulders up. There have been a couple of moments where he's really drenched in sweat and looks like he's about to go nuts. And I don't know if they have it in the budget. I don't know if we're going to probably just see it once, because they'll probably only have just the budget for the one Hulk out. So,
well, considering earlier on in the season we had who was the, what can I think of his name? Who was the
Absorbing Man? The
Absorbing Man. Yeah, thank you. Considering Absorbing Man could only do that for like a couple of seconds and then it just immediately went away. I got Eric on the phone about that. He complained so hard about that. I was like, "That's your thing. That's really that's your thing." He's like, "Yeah, but it's just like it's too obvious that it's a TV budget." Yeah.
Man, well, what are you gonna do? Wait, mail them $1 million and they'll see if they can make a little 3 more seconds for you.
Manos, since we've lumped these episodes together, let's go ahead and lump our categories together. What was your favorite moment between both of these episodes?
Well, God, I mean, just the end of the recent episode. I mean, I can't. Everything's been building to that, and that was just so played out, so cool. The showdown between, I guess we can call her Daisy or Skye, or Quake, and we'll call her Skye. Skye and
Raina, yeah.
Raina, and we activated the powers. I mean, that effect was really good too. By the way,
yeah, it looked good.
And then of course we lose Triplet in that scene. I mean, God, what a crappy, awful death.
Yeah, it was sad.
I mean, he jumped in there when he didn't have to.
Yeah.
He's trying to save her, and it's like, well, no, she's fine.
Yeah.
You're going to die.
Well, to be fair, I don't think anybody knows at that point besides her that she can touch the obelisk, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, well, that's what sucks for him.
So it's really separate. He has no idea, and he knows that there's a really good chance he's not making it out of this alive. But he is I mean, his hero's Captain America and the Howling Commandos, man. This guy is gonna go do the right thing. I mean, like, if he's got to go out, he went out, you know, in the right way.
Yeah, I mean,
think.
And you know what? Hey, Coulson, they probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just his bad luck. It was him. And that's... I mean, it really just adds to the scene. But boy, oh man. So... yeah, that's my particular favorite moment. How about you?
I mean, that's great. Mine, I can't get past Cal's first meeting with Skye. So well acted, so well written, really super unsettling and creepy. I was really into that. And like, probably the best put together scene in the whole season, if you ask me. I really liked that. I don't have a worse moment, or at least anything that I've written down. Obviously, I had some minor criticisms here and there, but just you know, watching these one time and without seeing some of the episodes that inform it for a while, I'm sure that if I went back and watched the whole season, I'm going to be very surprised if there aren't people that write some comments and go, hey Cap, you missed this, and this is a huge horrible problem. I'm kind of surprised by how really positive I am on the show suddenly when I've been pretty hard on it all season. I don't have anything. I thought these were quite solid, pretty plotty, but not to say that there's not some decent character stuff here too. I don't really have a worse moment.
Yeah, neither do I. At least in these two episodes. And your best moment, for me, that was a close, second choice for me. I mean, that scene, you're right, it's extremely well acted. It's pretty well written. We get a lot of info in that
yeah, and it's a good way to do exposition. That's another thing too. Is I will lob this criticism at it real quick. I don't understand why we couldn't have had... I just thought of this, and I meant to say this earlier. I don't know why, going to the stuff with Fitz, we couldn't have had the Fitz pours his heart out and explains... Or not Fitz, I'm sorry, Simmons. And explains what happened just after what Ward did to them at the end of last season. Why did that have to be now? It's so long after the fact. I just feel like that's been dragging for so long. Once again, like we finally covered this stuff, and it's better. I still feel like I want to watch all of this together to decide if I really like just overall what we've done with that. Because I kept calling missed opportunity earlier in the season with not leaving Simmons with Hydra and stuff like that. Kind of want to binge this now and see how exactly I feel about it, because I still can't get real excited about the way Fitz and Simmons have been with each other this season, and kind of wish we could have either, I hate to say kill one, because I like them both this season, but separately, I don't know. Anyway. But it was weird to finally get that here, I think. Okay.
Who to kill? Heads or tails?
Oh, wait, sorry, what?
Let's kill Fitz or Simmons right now.
Oh, which is which?
Head Simmons, tails Fitz.
Oh, geez, okay.
Go on.
Tails.
Okay, wait, who did I say was tails?
Oh, we really botched that, didn't we?
All right. Head Simmons, tails Fitz. All right, there we go. Who dies? Fitz.
Oh man.
There we go. We just decided.
They got me really liking Fitz this season.
Coin flip.
So well, unfortunate. Okay. All right. Do you have any quotes?
You're welcome. After killing Whitehall.
Yeah.
That was a great scene. I mean, you mentioned it earlier. I want to get into that. Man,
yeah.
Hyde beating the crap out of Coulson. Jeez, I mean, after
that was awful.
I didn't think too much of it as it was going on, but as he was getting to that stopping point, we got to look at the Coulson's like, wow, he is brutalizing him pretty badly.
That's a really good point. I kind of forgot. I kind of forgot he was in that bad of shape.
Yeah, I because you see your heroes get beaten up and stuff like that. But I mean, man, like, oh yeah, if this is Mr. Hyde, he's pretty strong. He's tearing him up pretty good.
Yeah, and he did it to him for saving his life.
Yeah, for taking his revenge away.
Yeah. Whew. Well,
see, I mean, you feel sorry
the hype
for him, and then he does that.
And then he does that, yeah. Well, and that's just like Word, where there's places where you're like, I can kind of feel for you, and then you're like, oh, but then he did that. I like when Cal said "best day ever." that was pretty creepy. Especially because that calls back to when he said that when his wife died, that was of course the worst day he ever had, and so then when things are going his way and he says "best day ever," I was like, wow. One of my favorite lines was a Hunter line, which I can't believe. And at first I was like, oh, that seems really typical. And then it got funny when he goes, join S.H.I.E.L.D., travel the world, meet exciting and exotic people. Then he takes somebody out and he goes, and kill them. That was pretty great. I thought all the Koenig jokes were funny, despite feeling like that's all still being dragged out. And well, I keep saying this with the show. We'll drag a thing, and I go, boy, I sure hope I love this when they finally pay it off. Yeah, so, anyway. Alright, comic references, obvious stuff. We've got Hyde, we've got Quake now. She's Quake. She's one of my favorite Dreamcast games from the late 90s. Quake. And, any other, obvious, or even not obvious comic references?
Oh.
That's the big stuff.
Can't think of any.
That's the big stuff. We've talked about a lot of predictions. Do you have any others? I think we've really kind of run the gambit.
Yeah, outside of I think Raina will probably be the big bad, and then we'll see about. I have the feeling we're going to be seeing more Inhumans. I think that's what that phone call was with the guy with no eyes. I think there are others that are in hiding, and this is a pretty big deal to them. Something happened, so we're going to see Raina joining them. I don't know who's going to be the bad guy out of that group. Who knows what Raina will do. So we'll see where it goes. I'm very curious to see where Skye goes at this point.
Yeah. Maybe there could be maybe they'll end up doing like a superhuman villain team or something.
Yeah. Oh, man, I could go for a supervillain team right now in this show.
Well, anyway, I guess that is everything we wanted to talk about for the S.H.I.E.L.D. shows. We're not going to do a trivia question today because we don't really have any place to answer it. We're not going to be doing this weekly after this. But as I said, don't worry, there will still be lots of TV stuff on our channel, and you will still see Manos in things. Manos is planning on popping in some with us with the TV thing that we're going to do. Anyway, I'm being hush-hush about that right now, but you will see Manos. There will still be a S.H.I.E.L.D. talk, so don't worry, that's happening. And you will also see Manos twice a month now on the Pop Culture Yearbook. We are finally bringing back Pop Culture Yearbook, so Manos and I going back in time talking about stuff from various dates. So, look forward to that. Manos, thanks for joining me, buddy.
Hey, it's great. Enjoy doing the show. I enjoy doing the things we'll be doing in the future.
In the future.
The future.
Everybody, thanks for watching S.H.I.E.L.D. Discussions, and as I said, we will be back for more S.H.I.E.L.D. talk in a different kind of format next, I guess, March now. It's not coming back till March, so, geez, yeah. But Agent Carter's coming before that, and we'll definitely be doing some things talking about that. So, thanks for watching. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm the real Manos.
And we will see you later on.